or offended or damage has been done due to that amount where she wants to make a point about that.
Right.
And with that in mind, I think the one-way traffic type of thing is a problem. But like I said, I do post stuff, so I don't think that it is inherently wrong.
Right.
No.
I think that
be wise.
Well, you have to be willing to realize that can happen.
Yeah, I wanted to key in on something that you said that I think was really good that I had a thought about when you're talking about knowing your audience.
Right.
There are some people that are very, very, very debate oriented. Like you, or maybe even more like you than you, like even more bulldog than you are, and they'll like post on people's profile and get debates going on and stuff like that.
And you'll have the 16, 17, 20 comments
right.
on one
and I've been
status.
part of debates like that on Facebook. I have,
you do that
and
a
that's
lot.
I don't know about a lot, but I've been part of these things. I was listening to Greg Kokel's radio show a while back, and this is a show from a few months ago, but he had spoken at Saddleback Church, which is a relatively controversial church in the Christian community because of some of the things that they do. And I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of people posting on his Facebook wall. Like there's a whole debate that happened on his Facebook wall about whether it was right for him to go to Saddleback. And Greg was saying that his thing was like, he's not here to debate with people on Facebook. Like this is basically just like, he's like, he feel like the way he's using Facebook is just to invite you kind of into his living room. He's going to share some stuff with you, and that's kind of it. And for him, it even felt a little bit rude. Like the people were immediately ready to have a debate about it where you wouldn't just do that in your living room. And so I think one of that is important to understand that while you, like people like me, I might be willing to have that debate with you. Some people, this is a social networking site only.
Right.
This is just for getting together with
friends. Are
friends.
your friend because they like you as a person.
Right.
Whoa.
And
what?
Whoa, this is
my
novel.
friend.
This is, whoa.
It comes down to, we talk a lot
Please
about...
be my friend.
We talk a lot about communication style and like adjusting the person you're talking with, adjusting to your audience.
Yeah.
There's ways to do that on Facebook. You can have a private messaged conversation with someone that's completely tailored to their style, whether it's a, how are you? How do you feel about this issue? Digging into it, or it's a point 1, point 2, point 3 counter.
Right.
Depending on your style.
Okay, but in response to having a debate on Facebook or even dialoguing, even through private message, I don't think that's a very that is very fruitful with what the time you're putting into it, because that person, I'm just looking at of the amount of time and effort that you would be putting into having this type of discussion,
like compared to face to face.
Well, and obviously face to face might not be applicable, but just and I'm not saying like it's not important to be dialoguing with one person. I see what you is. This is a lot of effort going into that, and you convert them or have them change something like that. You put all this effort, and now they're just pro-life. Okay, that's totally wrong thing to say, but it's. I don't think they're going to be active and doing anything. Whereas if you're putting that time, if you are like for the people like you're saying that sit on Facebook and look for links, something like that, put all this effort in or doing this stuff. The effort being put into that, or even dialoguing, put into praying in front of the clinics, in front of doing JFA.
So you're saying it's just not as effective as other things that are out there.
I don't think
it's my turn.
Josh has something to say.
My turn to argue with Andrew. Okay,
yes.
so okay. In one sense, I agree with you that for the same amount of time, a lot of times there are better things you can be doing. But almost nobody is actually outside of Planned Parenthood clinics for as much time a day as they're able to get on Facebook. So there are my wife at home.
Okay, some of us only spend a few minutes on Facebook.
And you're weird. And so for the rest of us, like my wife can go on Facebook, but because she's taking care of our 2 boys, she can't be outside of Planned Parenthood. So now I think there are times where I think it's totally worth the time. For example, recently this guy who I don't really know personally, my wife knows him, he used to be her boss, he posted a public comment under a link that I put to some political, what's going on in politics right now, posted that basically I'm pro-choice and kind of tried to find some common ground with me.
Right.
So I was like, okay, he posted publicly. I've never gone here with him. I knew he was pro-choice, but I've never gone here with him. But he posted public, so I publicly commented back. I was very, very nice. I used my tactics and my ambassador skills.
Did you agree with his common ground?
I found common ground.
Okay.
I tried to find some common ground that we actually agreed on, and I did agree with a lot of things he said. And then I was like, but I kind of disagree with this. And we had a back and forth, like 4 or 5 comments. It wasn't really long, but we did have a back and forth. And I think times like that, he posted something. I think it took me 60 seconds to type a little response back. I think as long as you're not slaving over for an hour, I think sometimes that can be really good.
It can, and be careful what you post, though, because I have seen in some of the pro-life people who are my friends, and I have lots, so nobody feels singled out.
Right.
But I've seen that they're posting things, and I look at it and I go, really? Is that a good thing, a good argument, a good article, a good something you really want to put out there representing your belief?
I agree.
We talk about good arguments, best arguments, putting your best foot forward all the time. If you take that and apply it to how you Facebook status update,
I want to take that even further a level.
Right.
I'm thinking about writing an article about this one day. I've been thinking about writing this article for a year now, but I just haven't done it
by
yet.
the time you write it, Facebook's going to be on its way out.
That would be so sad.
We should come up with the name of the next big one.
I don't think online interaction is not going to go away. And
no.
so
No, it's not.
I want to write an article about specifically how do you dialogue effectively when you're in that situation. And I'll share kind of the main thing that I've learned so far after having done this quite a bit is that when we're talking one-on-one with someone, we're having a dialogue, you're pro-choice, I'm pro-life, like just there are certain mannerisms, there are ways that I talk.
You catch and mimic each other's nonverbal.
There's a lot of nonverbal stuff going on. You can quickly figure out whether this person's a jerk or not. Online, no.
Or whether you're a jerk or not.
Yes. And online, it's just text that they're reading and they can put whatever, they can read it however they want to. So I think it's really important for us you have to work extra hard to come across the way you actually are. Almost like a caricature of yourself, like a little bit extra, like stuff that you wouldn't, like usually you would say it non-verbally, like you actually got to verbalize it. Okay, I totally understand what you're saying here. I was just having this one, like you kind of say maybe more than normally you would have to make the point, but then it helps so that they can't misconstrue what you're saying.
Well, it's not necessarily that they can't misconstrue what you're going to say, because when we're dealing with symbols the same way when we're talking to a person, people take and understand things differently than the other person intended, and
there's more room for it online.
There is some, but and it's very interesting because in a lot of my communications classes, we talk about computer-mediated communication, kind of the next wave of study. And a lot of it has found that even though there's so much fear that you can't understand nonverbal, so you'll be totally misunderstood because there's none of these cues.
Right.
The studies find that there are cues, and people do find a way to get around it. I mean, just think about JK or the little smiley face. The ways that we as human beings adapt to communicating
for everybody, JK
in that
is
environment.
just kidding.
Thank you.
Really?
Thank you. Hey,
Never
we gotta
know.
make
I
sure
know
people
what you're
understand.
I'm not saying to that. I'm
big
saying
spectrum.
of all the things that we haven't clarified,
JK,
we
what
choose to clarify. Josh is like, hold the show.
I'm just they're like, JK, what is?
But here's a suggestion for everyone. This is something that, maybe you can do if you know that there's a couple friends who don't want to receive certain posts. Organize your friends into groups. I have done this. Now I don't utilize it for all my most of my pro-choice most of my posts that are pro-life go out to everybody because I don't put them out that often. But I have a list of pro-life friends that I could totally message a personalized rally the troops message that is focused on that audience. That might not be something I want to show, not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's not the message you want to give to someone who's on the other side.
Speaking of this, sorry, because I know you have something to say, but just like I was going to say this anyway. This was my main advice for Matt, because this was a while back, and I actually spent some time. I don't remember if I actually talked to Matt on the phone or if we emailed back and forth or whatever. But we had immediately we were talking about this. My main piece of advice for him was you need to private message her back, apologize for offending her, help her understand how you actually are, that you don't think all these terrible things about women, that she seems to have gotten that impression. And then I explained to him about how on Facebook, when you post a link, you can customize who sees it. You can use the and with the settings, you can like minus her name, and she will never see those posts. And you can explain to her. I say, explain to her, you're going to do this from now on. She doesn't have to delete you anymore because you're going to be careful not to post stuff that she can see anymore.
Or every now and then post a post that is pro-woman. That's also pro-life, and have those posts be given to the group of people who are pro-choice and might question that belief of yours.
Right.
You can totally tailor to your audience. It just takes a little more effort.
And just to clarify, not like we believe pro-life is pro-woman,
exactly,
but you're talking about things
meant.
that really emphasize, like there's some great
like
Feminists for
Rachel's
Life articles
Vineyard.
And Rachel's Vineyard.
Like,
things
Feminists for Life, different articles that focus on what we get trampled over for.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead.
I also think that Facebook is a safe place to have some interchange because you aren't face to face.
Yes, it can be, especially if you're dealing with someone really emotional.
Exactly.
Connected.
It's true.
So, that's the thing is I can't say either way that there is a right or wrong, or that you should do this, don't do this.
Right.
And it's going to be up to the individual, and there's going to be people doing all sorts of different, levels of offending and posting stuff,
Right.
all those different things. But I would not discourage the idea of having these type of discussions on there. But
No,
I just don't think it is the best medium to do it on by a long shot. Is my only point that I'm firm on.
All right, we have 2 minutes left. We have a web exclusive question from one of our live listeners. The question is this: would you adjust your Facebook activity to begin more conversations, such as a high volume of posts, or be sensitive to sensitive people and not push them away using a low number of posts or less inflammatory posts?
Well, my response to that is I am pro-life. And I am not ashamed of that.
Right.
My Facebook reflects that. So I'm not really changing who I am or catering that to people. Now, my personality as well.
But we are asking some people to that overpost. We did say in the show. I think some people overpost.
Yes.
You don't think you do, so you're keeping yours the same.
Okay.
Right.
That's that person. I'm not saying that's wrong for them. I think in any type of movement or something like that, you're gonna have the Malcolm X to complement and to keep the balance with the Martin Luther King Jr. So there's gonna be that out there.
Right.
Yes.
I don't think that the people who are flooding
but who
Facebook
would you
with
rather have be your friend? Martin Luther King Jr. or Malcolm X? Because seriously,
good
one
point.
of them was the
Good
nice
point.
guy.
I'm just saying.
No, I do agree with what you're saying, and it's careful to have that balance because I take the approach of less posts, but I do need to put it out there and not be ashamed that I'm pro-life and let people know that. Some people have the really radical approach and might need to just be a friend.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing is I think it is very subjective to the situation, to the people involved. So
Right.
You need to be able to do both.
I answered by not answering.
Excellent.
You needed to be able to. I even polled my Facebook friends, including the pro-lifers, and was like, "Do you want to see only Facebook stuff, or you're wanting to see like both that and the personal stuff?" And the overwhelming response was, "We want to see your personal stuff too." People want to understand that like we are actual human beings and not like these pro-life robots.
Because if Josh is super pro-life but also loves puppies, well, he's a nice guy.
Right.
Does Josh love puppies?
Pug dogs I think are pretty awesome. I do like pugs. I grew up with a pug, and it does look like they've been chasing cars, but they're pretty cool. So here, I would say no matter how often you post pro-life thoughts or links on Facebook, be sure you're posting with a humble attitude.
Yes.
With an openness to both sides of the issue.
Be sure you're posting our links.
Our links, yeah. I mean, and when we say
right.
quality of links, just repost the stuff that I post because I think I post some pretty great stuff. So, anyway, having said that, to check back in with us next week and now go give them heaven.
You've been watching Life Report, pro-life talk, real world answers. Life Report is produced by Right to Life of Central California. Visit their website at fresnoprolife.org.